Hey, welcome again. I'm pretty sure that you recognize my voice. Welcome to the Little Gay Talk Show. We have a special episode tonight. It's going to be the Vagisode and all ladies plus one Miss Pinky, of course. So what we're going to do tonight, I have two beautiful, gorgeous hosts sitting next to me.
I'm Sarah. Lived in Houston for a long time. I'm in school, so I have like 9,000 side gigs. I have a nickname as Side Hustle Sarah from Craig.
Side Hustle Sarah.
Side Hustle Sarah.
Hi, and I'm Hendrix Scott. I work at Houston Relationship Therapy. I'm a couples and sex therapist that works with LGBT population, queer myself, and also with poly, etc. population.
I like that a lot.
Well, that is quite the bouquet.
And, of course, here's Pinky.
That's me. I'm Pinky.
No, I know what you look like.
I'm substitute teaching.
Absolutely.
/ not teaching.
We unfortunately had somebody not able to come today, but Pinky always knows how to fill in some shoes.
Fill in a hole, yes, for sure. That, like, side gig Sarah was like, I used to.
And you're at a table full of holes, so.
Oh,
damn, that was
awesome.
This is
awkward position to be in because
is it really? Because it sounds like it feels good to me.
I'm a gold star, so
through your ear.
What now? that means only made contact on the way out. Like, see you fucking later.
God, that sounds like me leaving work every time. All right, so
except you go back in, and I didn't.
Oh damn. Yeah, you got me. I got nothing. Definitely. So, one of the things we kind of wanted to touch base on a little bit today is first experiences being straight, being queer, being gay. What was your first experience to realize? Like, how did you realize it was, and what happened with that?
We're going with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are we going with first sexual experience, first queer experience? Like, what are we?
Oh, no, just the realization. Like, when you were like, oh, maybe I like chicken over beef. Like, kind of something like that.
First, whenever I realized I was queer, it's very big for our generation. Labyrinth, David Bowie. Where he was,
yes.
He's like he's like the first genderqueer person, but we didn't call him that. And you're watching Labyrinth as a kid, and I wasn't allowed to because it was of the devil, because I had
the Labyrinth in general,
yeah,
has its ties in religion.
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
But like in general, growing up, anything TV was like that's the devil. So I got my hands on a copy of Labyrinth, and I was like, I don't know what I'm feeling so many feelings. Is he a boy? Is he a girl? Is he all of these things?
He is the human embodiment of sex.
Of all of it.
Yeah. I mean, he could eat cookies in my bed any day.
Yeah, because he's feminine and masculine all at the same time, and then it's like,
I think he could do my eyebrows and punch somebody at the same time. Like I'm totally about that life.
He could
100%.
do your eyebrows while punching you.
Yeah, and I'd be down with that.
And your eyebrows would be done like.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's
done.
That's. I love it.
Yeah,
definitely. What about you, babe?
So I think being straight, I didn't have that. That's what you're always assumed to be. That's what everybody assumes you are. So you don't have that same kind of realization. I think when I was a teenager, I kind of started to wonder about that assumption a little bit, messed around with a few girls, like, this does fucking nothing for me. I do remember the first time, so I was raised very religious, that I kind of realized that there were other sexualities. I was pretty young. I was at a coffee shop with my mom, and I looked over at the table, and there were, like, two women kissing, and I, like, kind of was like, Mom, look, two ladies are kissing. And she just goes, don't point. Like, slaps my hand.
Good
lesson.
And
then she's like, I'll talk to you later.
Right.
Oh.
That's a good lesson.
But what did you think about it? Like, what
I think I was just, like, surprised. Like, I don't really remember. I was pretty young, so I don't really remember feeling like it was, like, wrong or anything. I was just kind of like, I don't see this before. My mom's like, this is sometimes how things are. Yeah. Even though we were in a pretty conservative church, my parents were kind of more open-minded than most people we were in church with.
Gotcha. For me, like, there was this girl that I used to ride bikes with a long time ago. Not that long ago.
Many moons ago.
But we would, what is it called? Like, like 6 minute in the closet or something like that.
Oh, 7 minutes in heaven.
Oh yeah.
We're
oh
all
my
familiar,
god!
clearly.
Every single person just yelled that out right now. But see,
not a sex therapist, but enough experience to maybe moonlight.
I don't even like it wasn't. I don't know how it could be a game when it was just me and her at all. But she would just be like,
I think they call that justifying.
In the closet for a long time. And then she's like, you should do this. And I'm like, sounds like a party. Let's do it. And I really found it amazing. But that was being with women. First time being with a man was...
After that or before that?
No, that was after that.
Okay. So you were the girl first.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
interesting.
Yeah, of course. But I didn't get with a man until I was older. And I found that it was a lot more intimidating for me. I was more scared, like more nervous.
Because you had an expectation of what that should be, and like because of pop culture and like the stuff you see and how a girl and a guy should react.
I mean, it clearly wasn't Antonio Banderas or whatever.
Well, right, but
like.
but I mean, do you think that tainted what you thought that experience should be, having experienced so much of it in pop culture, and that's why you were more nervous?
I think so.
And you had no expectation of being with a girl because you hadn't ever seen what being with a girl is like?
I'd never seen like in like TV or movie or anything like that, like two women being together.
Right.
Mm-hmm. The only time I'd ever seen it, the one time I saw it was in the movie Gia.
Yeah.
That was the first time I saw it and the only time I saw it.
Right.
And it was kind of, I felt like I was the only one. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, I'm the only one that I like tacos. Like, it was just like this weird thing. But now, I mean, we'll flow into that. What about you, Ben?
So I was in a straight relationship for a super long time, like in and out, kind of. Everyone kind of saw us as a couple, even when we weren't together. Yeah. And it was a girl, but like furthest I got there, depending on basis, was
like straight bases or what?
Straight bases. Like, are gay bases different?
I was gonna say, are they?
I mean,
I think
no. For me, like third base is me giving you my Netflix password. Am I that fucking?
We hadn't gotten there yet.
Okay, so you.
No, I know what you mean by like.
But, like,
whenever we were younger, everybody was like first base. It's like
first base, second base. You know,
like
I don't even know where it qualifies as
like,
bases. I really think I got caught in like a pickle.
Yeah.
Like between two bases, I'm like, I've got two fingers there, but like,
I don't really want those fingers.
I like, well, and it wasn't even so much that, like, her and I ended up being together more because we were the same, two different sides of the same coin. I still love her to this day. We talk, I scorched the earth, anybody ever did anything to her. But funny thing, she's an elbow now, and I'm gay. But we were like on off together for like 7 years.
Wait, what's an elbow?
Lesbian.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Like lesbo, but elbow.
Elbow, yeah, I get you. Okay, yeah.
So,
but I would say probably 7th grade was the first time I ever like picked up or like clocked a guy. But never really.
What did you do? Like, did you make like a pass? Like,
no. I came from a very like old money, affluent type of area, so like gay didn't exist.
Yeah,
it was just not even an option on the table. And then HBO started playing Queer as Folk.
Oh my god!
And I was like oh,
life-changing. Yeah.
And Real Sex was on TV like super late at night.
Yeah.
And so then it kind of like sank in as like a thing. So I think my senior year of high school, I ended up getting with my first guy. So I was 17.
See, I went really back. Like, I went back like 6 years old watching Labyrinth. Y'all are talking about like later.
I was super late bloomer. Like, I was probably 17, 16 when the first time I did anything with a girl.
The first time I did anything, I was about 16. And I didn't see Labyrinth until I was about 15 years old. I'm not ugly. Just for the viewers, I'm not ugly. I'm good looking, okay? I was just busy.
So, just for people to know, it is common for people to do things in elementary school, and, like, we don't know what we're doing.
Right.
So, like, that's where mine started with girls.
So
I just didn't realize.
Right. And I was super sheltered and, like, so much, like, terror and drama going on in my childhood life.
Yes.
I mean, I definitely had a lot of like crazy things happening, especially like with my parents, my sister, my brother. Traveling.
We've heard the
around.
stories about your mom on our show.
Yeah, she's my mom's a thug. She's a real thug. Like straight. I mean, any manager of a kitchen is a thug. Like straight up. And she is 4 foot of awful slit your throat type of woman, and I love her to death. But you know, the experiences that I had at like that young age, like sexuality was just like non-existent.
It's
like,
non-existent.
My
Right.
mom and
I mean, there was
dad
no
always-
exposure. It was not a topic that we ever talked
My
about at
mom and
home or
dad have
anything.
different
So
rooms.
what we wanted, I forgot. Okay, so what we wanted to get on was our first awkward experience, our first awkward sexual experience.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Go.
So many.
Yeah. Who wants to grab that bag first?
Oh,
Oh my
okay. Well, I
goodness.
guess I can do it.
Okay.
I don't know if this is my first awkward sexual experience, but one that I can think of is I
Your
was
favorite?
Right.
actually I had a pretty damn good time.
Hey!
Somebody had a good time in their awkward experience.
Yeah. Well, I feel
Awkward
like
experiences make up like a super good conversation, and like
sex.
all after it's
Sex is
awkward,
good. Laugh
it like
about
it
it.
only gets better from
It's
there.
true. And I do feel like I was like 16, and me and this guy, I feel like we had a series of awkward sexual experiences.
Of course.
But one of them was, so we were going to this house party. This is in like LaPorte. I don't know if y'all are from.
Oh, LaPorte. Okay, I'm not from there. I just know.
But you know.
Isn't that even?
I was gonna say a
further
lot of people
south
have
than
awkward
Pasadena?
experiences out in LaPorte.
There's a lot of
Oh
awkward
my! I was
experiences
like, aren't
to be
they
had in
all
LaPorte.
awkward in LaPorte? Keep going.
Okay, so we decide we're going to this house party. We get there kind of early. They're not there yet, and I'm kind of like, well, we should probably just fuck in the backyard while we're waiting.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my god!
And you initiated this?
oh yeah.
Right.
Wait. How did you initiate it?
Did you say
Did
just
you,
that?
Did you give it like?
I think I might have been a little bit more subtle. I might have just kind of like pushed him onto the grass and been like,
Like,
No,
well, no
you-
one's here yet.
No, you can't say. And I've been like, no. What did you like? Grab his leg, smooch his lips, sit on his face. Like, what did you do? Like,
What made it awkward?
well, what was awkward was the other people showed up. Until then, it was great.
That's amazing.
oh my god, that makes me so happy. That is
No, it was
amazing.
no. Until other people showed up, then it was great. And then I was like, well, classy times in LaPorte.
Yeah.
We finish this later.
I
Oh my
love
god,
it.
that's amazing. What about you, babe?
Shit, we were just talking about this earlier. Not going to go into extreme detail or detail at all. It was just I was younger. We were younger. We had no sex education because about the 90s, especially early 90s,
Ugh.
mid 90s, like
It was a bad year for Fords and a bad year for sex ed.
yes, yeah. Like
Boom.
who had any knowledge of anything? Like,
You know what? You
in
know what
early
my
90s,
sex
yeah.
education was with my mom? It was if you let anybody put anything inside your stuff, it's gonna make it stink. So don't let anybody fucking touch it. Don't let
Yes.
anybody go in
That's
there.
I could
exactly
see
it.
your mom making a refrigerator reference,
She
like
was just like,
or a
it's gonna
cupboard
make
reference.
It stink. And she was
Exactly
like, "Do you want to
things to be
stink?
told. Yeah.
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 Do you want to smell like the river? No, you don't. Don't let nobody touch your shit."
Yeah.
So that's what.
Yeah, mine was just awkward. It was one of my first sexual experiences with a girl, like
Yeah.
in young, like very young, icy hot.
Oh,
thought, hey,
no.
this'll be
Because
a
it's creamy.
good-
It's like lotion, but no.
But it is icy and hot.
Oh,
Hot.
Was it more icy or more hot?
It's both.
It- I mean, and anything that
And you
contains any
can't
kind of
wash it
menthol is
off.
like that.
Yeah.
Wash
Water
it
makes it
off
worse.
with yeah, you can't like. We
Oh,
didn't know to
God.
pour milk on it. You know, like I don't know.
Right.
You're gonna put bread up there? Like, what are you gonna do at that?
Be like, get the rolls.
We
Get the
know now
rolls.
if you eat something hot, like drink milk. No, like
Like, get ice cream.
yeah, no. It was a very awkward moment of not being able to sit.
Because you're both like super fucking like.
yeah, you can't sit next to your parents. How are you going to explain that? Like we just rubbed icy hot on each other.
And it's like super aromatic too.
Yeah, yeah. We smelled super fresh, very pepperminty. Yeah.
It's like a locker room.
I feel like icy hot always smells like an old folks' home or a locker room. That's it.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like jerk
Right.
call and sadness. Like,
Yeah.
So for me, I was with my first girlfriend. Her name was something stupid, and we had been drinking.
Now I really want to know what something stupid is.
And yeah,
Hey, that was my first too.
Yeah, there's always something stupid.
Something stupid got around.
So
she had a terrible name.
I'm laying down, and then she like crawls up to my face, and she has this whole bottle of Bacardi because, you know, at that age, I've heard this story. Good rum tastes like. And so she's just like straight on my face, and then she pours it down her giant, enormous, wonderful boobs, and then it hits my mouth, and I'm like, oh, I love booze. And she jumps up, immediately starts running, and she's like, oh, my God, I didn't know rum burns. What the fuck? And she is like ripping and running, and there's no amount of water that can calm it down. But I'm like, well, I got a shot and a shot, so I don't really, like, what the fuck you want me to do? I can't do anything. Yeah.
I wonder if it burns like alcohol.
He runs in with the obvious. I like it because,
I made the same joke when she told that story on our show.
God damn.
But see, that's not awkward for you. That's awkward for her.
No, when something
But she
goes
might not have
wrong,
realized that the alcohol did it.
No,
So she.
whenever you
You
have
said
an
you were
awkward
happy because you got your shot
experience
and shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I got shot.
with
were
a
happy.
partner, if something happens with your partner that's awkward for them, any sexual experience immediately becomes awkward for you. Because
Right, because like, did I do
You
something?
want,
Like,
you want them to feel bad. But
especially when they start running the fuck out of the room and you don't know why they started running out of the room like a bat out of
fair.
hell.
Yeah.
you just poured liquor down your body, past your vagina onto my face.
Yeah.
Okay? I 50-50 feel bad for you.
Yeah.
One, even at that age,
I
why
feel
do you
like-
think I was laying down? I'm not gonna fucking do that shit. I know that shit fucking burns. That's like being
Right.
like, oh, nail polish remover tastes like Kool-Aid. Yeah, that's a stupid thing to think.
I feel like those are not the same. Those are like way, way different. I would never get the impression that like
That's like thinking Bacardi is lube. Doesn't work like that.
I feel like she's still closer to like lotion and icy hot. They're like the same consistency.
Because at the time, and
I
still
know,
now,
I agree with
there's
you.
creams that will
Right. Anything with
enhance
menthol in
the
it, y'all.
vulva and like make you
Yeah.
horny. So we thought that's the same thing.
Oh, the hot
Because we had
cold
also
thing, yeah.
found a stack of like Playboys at her. It wasn't her parents' house. Like we were like brother's house or something. Like, there was like this.
I was like,
also-
whose house are you at?
Also, we could talk about that the first time you saw porn because we're
Oh, I know
older
it's-
and it was generally probably like magazines or we found it somewhere or that
Trying
was
to think.
also the first time that we had seen porn and it was all like dicks, 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 dicks,
Dicks,
come,
dicks,
come,
dicks, dicks,
come,
dicks,
come.
dicks.
And we remember throwing it and going, "Is that what sex is?" Like, oh my god, like
it's just throwing dicks.
is sex just dicks with like this shit coming out of there and like it's gonna be on your face? Like is that what it is? Like that was the first time we had seen
The
like,
first
porn.
time,
That is so funny.
the first time I saw porn, I was digging through my mom's closet, and she had this little teeny tiny suitcase, and of course I'm gonna go through all her shit.
Of course. Yeah.
So
Right,
she's not
got to.
there, and she's not there. So because I was all left by myself, I open it, and it's this pornos magazines are like so old; they're black and white, and it
Ooh.
would just like I kept trying to find where I could actually see one thing going into another, but I couldn't because there's so much hair everywhere.
Oh yes.
I know, I honestly, and it's black and white, so I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, I can't see anything. But
In
I
the
was like-
1920s was a
Now
bad
we
year
know
for
how old
porn.
Sing is. Yeah.
I was like, I mean, I know there's something good happening, but
Oh, man.
I can't see anything.
So then, what was when did the first time you saw porn?
The first time I saw porn, actually, I was at my grandmother's friend's house.
I'm about to say you're at your grandmother's house. I was like, this is gonna be a damn good story. Okay.
Okay, this sounds amazing.
But
right
your
now. I'm really
grandmother's
excited.
friend's
I was at my
house, so
grandmother's
also
friend's
a
house. I was-
Grandma?
Huh?
So also a grandma, if it's your
Yeah,
grandmother's.
I mean,
Two Mimas.
yeah. So I was at her house, like, you know, when she used the bathroom, we're gonna go thrift store shopping, and she has like a basket of like magazines, and I kind of look, and the first one on there is like
Meemaw, you
19
dirty,
like
dirty
80
Meemaw.
Playboy.
Yeah.
Oh my
on there,
gosh.
and I was like, well, let's see what's going on in this.
Not trimming.
Not true. Yeah, no one was
No.
trimming.
Yeah, they weren't so much on the hedges then.
Way to go, dirty Meemaw. Like, I
Right?
like that. Yeah.
I mean, but you were how old? then?
I was probably, I mean, I might have been like 11 or 12 actually.
Okay, so they were like
Oh my
in
God,
their
okay,
50s or something.
See, See, again, like, I was so much younger during
Well, but
she's like, I haven't even gotten past
I haven't gotten past
middle school yet.
Well, until I was like 9 or 10,
as well. Yeah.
Well, raised very Mormon, so like sex does not exist, even though there are like 19,000 kids in every family.
Like,
they
how
cut
do
their
you guys
magic.
exist then?
Yes.
There's no sex happening; it's just pure.
Yeah.
Right.
If there keep happening more Mormon, like
video games spawning, like bloop,
exactly.
bloop, bloop.
Yeah.
The spontaneous generation.
Yeah.
Do you think that growing up in that sense, like with that that religion kind of behind you a little bit, like how do you think that it affected your sexual
impacted you now?
Yeah, like your prowess. Like, do you think it hindered it? Do you think it helped it?
Prowess.
I mean, hey, 50-50. I mean, for me, like,
or like,
never
how
mind.
does it hinder you going after sex or like thinking about sex, like prowess?
Right, how
Like,
prevalent
like
it is in
prowess
your.
or
Right,
you're
right.
like-
Is it an afterthought, or is it something that you feel like might be catching up on because you feel like you missed out on some of it?
Maybe I did feel like I had to catch up a little bit. I feel like I might be caught up now. I will say
Wow.
I definitely
When she started telling those stories that were making everyone else blush at
by
the table, she's
16,
like,
I'm,
okay, maybe
fucking
I'm
in the
caught up now.
backyard. It's good.
I was like,
Right.
wait a minute. I was like, hey, shit.
I'd like to
I
catch
should
up
have
for
been
it.
Mormon earlier.
But I will say, I feel lucky in that I've known people who were raised in that religion or in other very strict religions who ended up with like a lot of guilt around sex that for some reason
Yeah.
never
Shame.
really it didn't really take on to me. So
Oh, that's good.
which is great. So
Right.
Nice.
You know, that's a really interesting thing to kind of like touch on, like how religion kind of enforces your.
is that my
Is that a
prowess?
fart?
That's the purring.
I totally thought that was a fart.
So you can't do that naturally. Oh, see, okay.
But it doesn't sound like purring. Me and one of the cats at home, it's so funny because I've never had a cat like actually like communicate with me. But like me and this cat will meow back and forth at each other, like
So me and my
so interesting.
Yeah.
Like
Me
we're
and
like
my-
meow.
I'm like,
He's
my
like,
dogs, we
meow.
just, whenever there's food, we all like
I
wiggle
love
our
how-
butts. Like, that's
I
like
love
our
how she was
communication.
talking about Mormonism, and he was like, "I'm thinking about my cat right now."
Right,
I
I'm
was
getting
like,
all
how
I'm getting
can
all
we
the
make
signals
these,
late
like,
from
go
Sing. She's
together?
like,
No, because
So I'm, like, trying
when
to
you
catch
said
up.
That I wanted to hear that sound.
which one? The purring sound?
No, the other. You did it before.
I did it before.
Hey, I remember when we were going through all the sounds.
Ooh,
Anyway, but yeah, I really did like the sounds.
the air horn.
Oh, but also, you lead us into a really great thing about how we wanted to touch
Religion
on
kind of affects your
messages
sexuality.
that we heard growing up. Like
Oh.
messages.
Yeah.
Like what were the messages we heard as women, or what was messages we heard as being queer?
I
or
heard
hetero,
if
or
you touch
anything?
my stuff, it's gonna stink. So don't fucking touch me.
Yeah.
So that was my message.
love it.
Yeah. And then what was yours?
I mean, it was very much like, like sex is for marriage until then. But the thing, I was just thinking about this when you were asking me how it affected me, and I didn't really have the shame associated with it.
Yeah.
What I do think happened is that there was very much an emphasis on, like, if you're a woman, it's not, like, okay to express your desire. You kind of just have to, like, wait
Of course.
wait for somebody to come to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that I think I still have an element of that.
Yeah.
But it's also a very patriarchal religion that kind of seeps in certain ways that you don't always notice at the time.
Yeah.
Right, and you just sort of like model yourself after women you've grown up with, not realizing that they're, the pinnacle
Just as
of
fucked
theirs.
up as everything else.
Right, and so you've been
Exactly.
modeling yourself off the religion without actually associating, you making those role models out of women who practice those religions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. My message, like my mom would, what would she tell me?
Break hearts, hold
you,
farts.
She would be like, if you talk like that, no man's gonna want you, because I would say my
That's
opinion,
why I don't like to swear.
Right.
or I would say just anything that I was like, oh, I like the color red, or I like this, or
This is a blue house. You
or
don't tell me
I'd
shit.
just be like, hey, I don't fucking like that. That's terrible. She'd be like, men are not gonna like that about you. Never be able to marry one. I'd be like, ha ha.
Like,
might
a
not be
fucking
with the
men.
man. Like, I'd be like, ha ha, not gonna be with the man anyway. Like,
Exactly, right.
I think I got to of similar thing, though. I mean, it's kind of interesting. Like, so in the Mormon Church, it's not that women have no power, but it's like a kind of covert, like secret power. Like, you can never be like to say. Go.
She always
have to
told
be,
me like, women are
exactly.
the neck and women are the head, or women are the neck and men are the head. And she goes, we can sway men however we want because we're the neck. And I'd be like, that's.
What if I want to move my own head?
Yeah, what if I want to head? Like, what if I want to think my own thoughts? Yeah.
For me,
what if I don't want to manipulate people my entire life?
Right.
Yeah.
Persuasion being your only ability to actually make anything happen.
Exactly.
So it's,
Exactly.
you know,
well,
it's
you
like
know what?
my thought being the origination of that action and it not having to filter through somebody else, you know, should be the case there.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. I mean, I also don't need shoes to run, but it fucking helped. Like, when I kind of look at the relationship, especially because I'm Indonesian, I look at Indonesian women the way that they are. It's kind of like you look at like those old gangster like movies or whatever. You have the Godfather, right?
Yeah.
And he's the one. Everybody look at him, respect him. Then you have Capo. Capo's the one in the back.
Yes.
Pulling the strings, quiet, don't say nothing, like that. That's how I feel the majority of, like, my relationships are. And to be honest, for me personally, I prefer that. I don't want that front stage. I want to be like that.
Yeah.
I might feel a little bit that way myself, but I do sometimes wonder, like, how much is that my natural inclination and how much is that because that's sort of how I was, like, raised to always think that it has to be. I don't think that's a good or a bad thing, but I would like it to feel like a choice, not like a default where I have to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think?
A whole nature versus nurture argument.
Yeah.
You know, like how much of that is actually me? Am I really a meek, timid individual, or has that been, you know, sort of conditioned into me?
Yeah, because some people really are. Some people really are sensitive, or some women are sensitive and like don't want to have that responsibility to do that thing. And then I see them even now as couples. They're like, well, I would really like to raise kids, and now I feel like I'm deserting the social aspect of
right, like they're not doing their point.
Yeah, and
you
I'm
know,
like,
their
you
due
don't have
diligence
to,
in
it's like,
the field.
The reason of feminism was that you have the choice to like go
Right, you could
have
go outside,
children,
and now
or you could have a job.
Right, and extremists have made them feel bad about wanting to be a homemaker. It's like, no, the maternal instinct, you know, is, you know, when you have kids and that to
or like dads,
to
they're
coddle
like,
them and whatnot.
Dads, they're like, I would like to stay home, but then the social is like,
And like, oh, you're a pansy.
You're a piece of exactly. And
Right.
I don't really understand why like there's so much emphasis on two bits making one person, but one person have to like mold this person. Like they should have a 50-50 in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. It's just stereotypical gender roles that
I can't have
that
a Jaeger
go back
bomb
from, you know,
without like
nature
Jaeger and then Red Bull like have
and
to
a
be,
bomb.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
like have to be together. Like I don't understand why it has to be put for the forefront for society and everybody else to look at it to be like, oh yeah, I'm a big part of this, you know, this thing that I'm creating, but you're not.
Right. It's men having to, you know, have something that makes them a man.
Yeah.
Even though in nature, you know, typically the male is the pretty one.
Yeah, no, that's
You know,
true.
and
I like how you're pointing to yourself when you
the-
say this.
I was gonna say
and the females are the ones who go out and get the kill.
in a hunt. Yeah,
You know,
that's true.
and birds, you know,
I was about to just say birds.
I was gonna
know
say
exactly what you're
peacock.
talking
but birds
about.
kind of put it on its end.
A female peacock is the ugliest thing I've
A,
ever seen.
a female duck, just about the female anything animal is as plain as it gets, and that's because
The males have to do the dance. They have to like.
they have to
you.
get her. And so
Yeah.
in humans, looks kind of end up mashing together. There's nothing that makes a man distinctual from a woman as far as features.
Keep drinking.
Yeah, right. I mean there are
Smoke weed.
on
yeah.
a minute level, but there's nothing like that actually gets the female's attention, you know, other than him being the most manly that he could be or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that what you? Well, are you talking about Animal Kingdom or?
I'm talking about
Kingdom?
people.
People.
Oh, for
Right.
me, no.
So we don't have
manly,
we don't have bright colors. I mean, I do obviously, but you know, the female has what he needs for him
Money.
to in nature. The female has what he needs to perpetuate his line.
DNA.
Right. So for him to, you know, grow his pride or, pack whatever.
We got the flower pot.
Right, and he needs it.
Yeah.
So he's got to attract her. And here, in an environment where money and capital and ability to do for her is the only attraction, we make it up in those ways. And so I've developed those roles of homemaker versus whatever. And the homemaker came from her ability to not have to work and him to provide for her in such a way she didn't have to. But now, then that whole
So then how would you
feminist thing.
think that it works with queer relationships?
Exactly. We don't know how to.
I mean, so I just got divorced with my ex-wife 4 years ago. I bring her over here from Australia, and she's a psych clinician.
Ooh, I also have an Australian in my past. Fuck all of them. No, I'm kidding.
I mean,
I'd like to.
Okay.
Have you
Same.
heard them talk? Oh my goodness, there were those two at the bar the last time I was there. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
goodness.
Oh my God! So the last time he came over to the bar,
He was a big old boy.
Oh no, stick with your story. Where are you going? Yeah.
Right, you
So
brought her
my,
from over from
my
Australia.
ex-wife,
You got this.
6'2", Australian. Now she should be about 65, I think.
All right.
I love cougays. Cougays are the best. I tell everyone,
Can
I'm
we
like,
call
if
him
you haven't,
quays?
I'm like,
Can
if
we
you
call
haven't
him
been with
quays?
a woman, be with the cougay first, so that they
I mean,
can teach you everything, and then
Oh, right, exactly.
She was really, really awesome at first, but once she came over here on the K-1 visa, like, she was smarter than me in the sense of, like, she knew how to super be manipulative and awful.
Ooh.
And
She had her
knew my
woman game
weaknesses,
down.
and she
had her neck
knew
game down.
how to get it. She knew how to gaslight me and like make all these like awful.
What is
horrible things.
gaslighting?
Gaslighting? It's from this old story. It's a basically so this guy, he have this wife, and so every day the wife would come home, and what he would do, he would turn the lights off in the house a little bit lower every day. The next day, lower.
it's actually
lower.
an old movie.
Yeah.
And then he would tell her, no, they've been like this the entire time.
Oh,
It's
so
like making somebody think that they're
girl on a
crazy.
train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Go on. I'm sorry.
She was a monster. I hope she falls into a 2-foot well. 2 foot because I'm not a monster, okay? 2 foot
So
well.
just enough for her to break her
Just
knee off
enough to
backwards.
be- I hope every
If she's
sock
running.
slip down
Not
foot
die.
every day.
Not die. Yeah.
Right.
So
No, okay, gaslighting, that's a whole different thing. Like, we can go on that. Have you ever been gaslit? Probably.
The last
No.
8 years of my life. Like
Your hair-
constant gaslighting.
did your hairdresser do it to you?
No, my husband.
Current or
Legally, yeah.
okay?
Where I'm in the midst of like chopping off that
battle.
limb that's stuck
Yeah.
in the bear trap.
Yeah.
Quite literally a bear trap. He is a bear.
Yeah. Oh, I love bears.
Sound like an old burr.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
Right.
man. But yeah, no, he's been. Oh, Lord.
Do you have an experience where you feel like you were gaslighted, like at all?
You know, I probably have one. I haven't figured out I was gaslighted yet.
Well, that's the ingenious of gaslighting.
I know,
is that
exactly,
people
is that
don't
you
know
It's
they
really
are
ingenious,
until
and like
they-
I love that there's a
later.
name to describe it now because
Yeah.
everything makes more sense
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, so that's not just like him being a crazy person.
Yeah.
Like he's a crazy person who does this that other crazy people do. 'Cause-
I remember.
so he was sleeping with his massage therapist, and it's all always been in my head.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
But no, I remember reading it as a therapist years ago, and I thought, holy shit, there's an actual word. Because it was only like 5 years ago.
It's probably one
Like,
of the cruelest
it's a-
things
it's
to
a
It's
do.
super
horrible
to a
thing to do to
person.
somebody.
And it's very girl on a train. Like the second I saw that movie, I was like, holy fuck, you've been doing that to me for the last 7 years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
So-
it happens in the female community. I don't know how much. Like, I would be interested to know
Like girl on girl, you mean?
girl
or
on girl. Like, I know it happens. I know it happens heterosexually because I see those couples a lot. And it happens with male on male for sure. Like, it happens with all of us. But I'm just really curious, like, where it happens.
The concentration.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I think.
Or is it just we're all fucked up across
I think
the
it's
sexual
we're all
orientation?
fucked up.
I think
it's
really more of a man thing.
That's what I was wondering. Is do you think that men gaslight more than women?
I don't think so. I really don't. I from my clients, I don't think so.
See, because I feel like men do it to women more often
so, too.
in straight relationships,
yes,
and then male on male relationships, they're like both doing it to each other, and like they really think they've got it, and then it turns into something totally different, and it's just like a gas chamber.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the great thing about the lesbian community, which I lived in, because I wasn't with men for years, and considered myself a lesbian for a long time.
Same.
Me too.
But also didn't know that there was pansexual or like other identities while I was identifying as that. It was definitely happening in the lesbian community. Like it was like, oh shit! Like, and I can hear like lesbians right now. I can hear like specific friends like rallying me right now. Going,
White Claw.
Yes. Oh no, but they're not
this is
young.
back in the day. Oh, this is back in the day.
No.
This are you talking about Chance's days?
Which chances?
What do you mean? Which chances? There was one chances.
I'm not from Houston.
No, I'm not from here either. It was this one like giant lesbian bar in Montrose. Chances, yeah.
Well, that's why we wouldn't know.
See, but Dallas, Sue Ellen's, woo, woo.
Sue Ellen's.
Mm-hmm. Like it was
when it was at
huge
TMC.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but Sue Ellen's has been around since the 80s. It was from Dynasty, the show.
I love it.
In the 80s, yeah.
So you mentioned changing from feeling like a lesbian to feeling queer. Can you tell me a little bit like how and when did that happen?
God, okay.
Was there a pivotal moment?
Well, I'm just curious because I do feel like a lot of people's conceptions of like how they identify have changed over the last 10, 20 years. I'm just curious about that.
It was different for me because of the time period that we were raised, where it was really only gay, straight.
Yeah.
Right. And now since we brought all these evolutions and kind of expanded the spectrum, I guess they call it.
Yeah. And now,
given names to those smaller groups in betweens.
Yeah, and like I'm pretty butch, or what I would call futch, or
what is?
feminine butch,
okay. I was like
feminine
futch.
butch. Like I only wear men's clothing, but then I wear makeup, and then I wear hats, and I shave my head.
Man's pants.
No, these are. Yeah,
they look
so cute though.
But I have a great ass. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Like
that's not the pants, honey. That's the ass in the pants.
Okay. But it's like my husband now. He'll be like, "You gay?" He'll be like, "Hey, lesbian, what are you doing today?" Like he realizes that I am queer, and he never disrespects that. Because he understands like the journey that it took. He also knew me as a child. Like he knew me whenever I was like fucking 13 years old.
Right.
And saw me struggling with all of these things.
Right.
It's literally only him. Like, I think, like, I say this all the time, like, if he dies, I'm going to go right back to just being butch, being a lesbian, like,
Fair enough.
But it was also hard to think of a heterosexual male loving a butch-looking woman.
Right, because of the the built-in stereotype that you have of like hetero and how close-minded they are and whatnot. I can totally see that.
Want their women to look like we need long hair. You need to wear makeup. You need to wear shirts down to here. You need to have this.
Right, there's cleavage. There's we don't
Yeah.
want any kind of strength in your image.
Yeah. Yeah, and he doesn't give a shit, and neither do my in-laws. My in-laws are fucking amazing. They're just like, that's cool. Hendrix is just showing up, just being her. Like that's
Like, who's riding that motorcycle on the front lawn?
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. Yeah.
Like, oh, that's Hendrix.
Yeah. They're like, let's let her do her. Like they like me because of that.
Right, exactly. Because you are who you are, and
and he didn't bring home just some like girl
cookie cutter. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we have to take a break.
Okay.
And because I think Sing is fumaring. We're gonna fumar.
Okay.
All right.
We'll be right back, y'all.
Oh, don't be so sad. I know you missed us. I know you missed us so much, especially our guest hosts, Sara and Hendrix. And, of course, Miss Pinky's here. And now we have joining us, of course, Joe.
Tapped out.
Hey. Miss Pinky is tapped out?
Yep, I've tagged you in.
Yes. So,
all right, tagging in.
So I'm being that person on the on the other level. So
on the Vagisode.
Yes, on the Vagisode.
So I don't want you to feel out of place or uncomfortable or anything, because vages and stuff like that. So now on this part, what we're gonna do, we're gonna play a little fun game of Would You Rather.
Oh, are we? Are we gonna play that game?
Oh, we're playing. Oh, yeah.
I can't wait.
Oh, we're playing it. Right now.
With Sara and Hendrix. Hey, girls.
Hey.
Ready to play this game? Because we're gonna do this.
So our first Would You Rather is gonna be for my lovely Sara.
Mm-hmm.
And so her question is gonna be:
Would you rather lose the ability to read or the ability to speak? And why?
Okay. Lose the ability to read or speak.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather lose the ability to speak.
Why?
Because I like reading, and I love reading books, and that's what I do. Because, to be quite honest, when you talk to other human beings, I don't really want to do that. I'd rather just look. I sit at home and I watch Japanese anime. I play video games. That's what I do because sometimes I just want to get away from other human beings. So yes, I would love to lose the ability to talk to other human beings.
I like it that you
well,
say
you can still hear them. That's the problem.
I know, but I know.
Oh,
now we just
Sara, I love
about
you now.
Sara.
I know.
I love
but
you
Sara and
before, but
I,
love you
Sara and
time more
All right,
now.
Sara,
but I
what
feel
would
like
be your answer.
Well, my answer actually surprises me because, I do read. I'm a writer. I do read like 4 or 5 hours a day. And yet, I think I would rather lose that ability than the ability to speak.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know. It surprised me, too.
Yeah, I know. Why?
so. Miss Hendrix, which ability would you like to leave behind?
Read. For sure. Yeah.
Read?
Yeah. But I'm also thinking about sign language. So,
Oh, you're being tricky.
yeah, I'm being tricky. I would lose the ability to read, but I would trust in the ability to know sign language.
Okay. Well, maybe I could lose the ability to speak, but then it's like pass notes to people. I don't know.
Okay.
What about you, Sing?
What about you, Sing?
I lose the ability to speak because I don't want to talk to nobody anyway right now.
I
Ever
know.
whatsoever.
But we love when you talk to us.
I like to listen to people, and if I got something to say, like if I can't speak, I can get down on this
Okay, maybe
DoubleTree
she's
notepad
going on
from
this
Miss
sign language
Pinky,
thing, too. Yeah,
and to be like,
she'll write it down.
Okay, so I will say this: it's the second half of Miss Sing's show, and I am Joel Tatum as a producer. Miss Pinky did it in the first half, and that's what she did. And now I'm coming in here because I just wanted to play around with you girls and do your thing.
that sounds like all of my exes.
I know, right? I really wanted to be here for the second half because you know what? The third part of the show is yours. But
Well, we're only doing 2 halves, so this is it. Yeah.
okay, well, I don't know that, Pinky, or anybody else at the table. I just thought that we were doing like 3 parts of this show, but if we're not,
Take it away, Sting.
I
What's
would
the next
love
question?
to be a part of this. So
You are completely 100% a part of this. So we're gonna get back really quickly, my
Okay.
lovelies, to would you rather or who you would. So now I have a few questions. Oh yeah, it's about to get sexy.
is it?
Yeah.
Is it really? Because I can't wait.
Everybody got some towels so you can towel off.
I have lots of towels, by the way, for the ladies in the room. Go to the cabinet in my bedroom. I have lots of towels. You could do that.
No. Can I say one thing about your restroom, Mr. Joe?
Yes, please do that.
Okay, I gotta say one thing.
Please do.
One thing, I always turn on the fan before the light switch.
You know
which
that
scares the shit
fan.
out of me.
You know, I know that fan is terrible, though.
But I gotta tell you, I have never walked into a man's house and the restroom always smell so pretty. It really always. I don't know what kind of air freshener you use or Tide Pods.
It's
you put
not
on top
air
of the
freshener.
toilet. Like it always smells so nice, and I'm like, I know men live here.
It's not an air freshener.
All right,
You know what I
and here
use?
for the sexy question.
It's bleach. That's all it is. It's
all right,
bleach.
we're going around the table. Now, if you could sleep with one couple, who would it be? Now, give me a second. Would it be Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Thornton, Pamela and Tommy Lee, Jay-Z and Beyonce, or Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, and why? Sarah, boom.
Oh, can
all
you come
on
back
you.
to me?
Okay, so it's going to be...
see, I thought it was going to be 2 and 2.
Oh, shit, we can
Because
pick.
through the 4, like, man, that's a lot, you know? Like,
All right, you know what? I'm going to name them all off, and you pick 2 that you would bang. Angelina Jolie.
At the same time?
Billy, yeah. Oh,
no,
absolutely.
okay, so just name 2 couples, and we need to pick between.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
All right, my babies.
Because it's too much with 4 couples.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I feel like it's way too much.
Like, that's
All
a
right.
party.
That is a party. That is a party, and I love that, by the way.
Miss Sarah, would you do Jay-Z, Beyonce together? Or would you do Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Thornton? Which
Jay-Z
one?
and Beyonce.
Why?
Well, okay, I gotta say, like, being pretty straight, I'm really mostly thinking about the dudes. And if it's Billy Bob Thornton or Jay-Z, Jay-Z.
Okay.
And I'll be like,
Oh
Beyonce,
my-
go
Babe, could you... I'm sorry, like, Jay-Z, I can only imagine his face above my face and how awful that would look. Like, he better get it from the back every time. I don't want to see his
Who
face.
said I was gonna look at his face?
He can hit it from the back, and I'll chomp Beyonce.
Fair enough.
All right, my babies.
Okay, but you're going with... Okay, see, but I really can't pick between both because now we're talking about 2 different genres. Like,
No,
they're,
no.
they're couple genres. Like,
The only
mm,
genre is in or
Hendrix,
out.
can I ask you a question?
ask it
Would
next.
you pick 2 of the ladies in that thing?
No, see, both. They're both. But see, we're talking about 2 different genres. Like, Billy Bob and Angelina were in the 90s, which I want that 90s. Like, they were so weird. They were wearing
Yeah, but-
bottles of each other's blood.
I know, but
as
they were super
necklaces.
weird. But the thing
And I
is,
like
is
that, but then I will pick. I every day I want Beyonce and Jay-Z to pick me. Like, I want to be with you. Like, I will be the greatest unicorn
Yeah,
that's
but
ever been
can I-
for you two.
can I tell you this? If Jay-Z and Beyonce were to be the pick, I would still have sex with Jay-Z and then tell Beyonce, hey, you can sit over there and watch it. That's okay. If you want to watch it, that's okay.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're
But
sitting,
I'm
you can
not
be cooking.
going to do that simply because, no, I don't want... Beyonce's nice, don't get me wrong. But, no, I would love for Jay-Z and I to just do our thing and have Beyonce maybe just watch.
Bring some
For-
towels.
Yeah, bring
Clean
some towels.
Some,
or,
bottles of water.
or
like
another drink or what have you. But
See, but what my first couple was definitely Angelina and Billy Bob because they were so weird and they taught me to be weird. I'm like, thank you for making me
No,
a
no,
weird
they don't
little-
teach you to be
But
weird.
I-
You weird
I
by
was-
yourself.
Oh yeah.
They
Hendrix-
teach you it's
Where
okay.
you realized that you
It's
were
okay
just
to
as weird.
be
You were
weird.
like,
Yeah.
I
But-
want to do that.
can I tell you ladies something? I feel like that, wouldn't you want to hook up with the ladies?
No.
Why would you not?
Fuck yeah.
Wouldn't you want to
But
hook
see,
up?
this was a couple's question. If
I
you
know,
ask about ladies,
but
then, yeah.
wouldn't you, Hendrix, wouldn't you like to go, hey, Jay-Z, you're nice and everything else, but I want to hook up with Beyonce because they...
See, now you're asking a different question.
Yeah.
Of not couples, because the question was couple.
I know.
Yeah. If I had to pick between Jay-Z and Beyonce, I'm going to pick Beyonce.
Of
All right, all right.
course.
Revamping real quick.
But I'm not going to... Oh, here comes Randy.
Because
Here,
let me tell y'all something.
here comes Randy.
I don't give a shit about nothing but this.
We might have to
I hope-
retape this
I
episode.
hope.
Are we gonna do
Beyonce
this?
is here's what I'm saying.
What you saying,
He's an
honey?
ugly motherfucker.
What
And
did I
can't
just say?
believe-
I don't want to see his face on top of
I
me.
can't believe
I
that
really
she
don't.
married that ugly motherfucker, but she did.
See, I'm
So
pro
that's all I'm
Jay-Z.
saying.
I'm pro.
Jay-Z's nice.
His talent, his what he
I know.
what he did to get to get to where he is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but at the same time,
I'm there for
Beyonce, you know, she worked hard.
Of course she worked.
She
yeah,
did all
I'm
the stuff
negating
that
her.
she did.
Shorty size.
And she has shown that she can be that girl.
Be that girl.
But as a
I'm
gay
sorry.
man,
You know
I'm
what?
thinking,
Once you perform at Super Bowl, you are the girl. You're the guy. You're whatever. You are every fucking thing. I'm sorry.
am I
And
gonna?
she got so much shit about like representing Black Panthers. That whole bit. Remember? When she do like that. So now I'm gonna move on
But
to my
here's the
next
problem.
question real
I also-
quick.
So Sing's gonna move on to our next question. What's your next question, Sing?
What's your next question saying?
Would you? Okay. Do you want to see or do you want to hear?
Saying it's your next question.
See,
Whatever.
no, see or hear.
See.
See?
Mm-hmm.
So you would be deaf and you don't want to.
I guess it's your question.
No, your
Nobody
response
can
is
answer.
your own.
No, Hendrix literally asked you what your question is. So, what's your next question?
Would you rather sing or see, or would you rather hear? Yeah. See, what would you rather, Sarah?
I'm going to say here, and I think this is, even though I'm a pretty visual person, but I think the sound of other people's voices is very important to me.
Yeah.
So I think I'd rather keep that.
Yeah. Music. Like, I always think music first.
Yeah, that's a big one, too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think I would go also with hear because there's something about hearing that's sexy and lovely. I love that. I think it's great.
Now my last question that I want to ask, which
Oh,
I
wait,
think
Sing.
is going,
Which one did you want?
Me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm half deaf anyway, and I can barely see now. Like I don't know, it'd be 50-50 for me. I can't
She's like,
see
these
shit, can't hear
bifocals aren't
shit,
going to work
like,
forever.
I'm like Ben Franklin on a bad day. Like I don't know what to do. But if I could choose, no, I'd rather hear. And now I have a really, really good one.
Oh.
Now, a person of the gender that you go to,
Mm-hmm.
a stranger of that gender comes up to you. What's your first thought?
Okay, so you mean the
Like where you're in a bar.
opposite gender comes up to you.
Not opposite the gender you like. It don't have to be opposite. It can be girl, guy, whatever.
Okay.
But this person comes up to you, right? They walk up to you in a bar. You don't know them. What's your first thought immediately?
Well, how do they walk up to you? They're like,
Yeah, it means what clothes
They
are they
walk up-
wearing?
they-
What's
they-
their
they-
demeanor? Like,
they just like
yeah.
walk up, sit next to you, look at you, and then what do you think?
Normal person. What?
Yeah.
What's
Well,
your
if we're
first
doing
reaction?
Badgecast, we're doing women. It's like, well, if a dude walks up to me in a bar, like you're immediately going to think, what's up? Like, what are your intentions? Or like, we had just talked about previous like 2 nights. Well, the guy in the lift just grabbed my leg whenever I was on my way home, and it was like those kind of things.
Yeah,
What
I'd say
do you
that there's definitely like an element. If some strange guy like comes up to me in a bar, like sits down next to me, in terms of like, what do you want? Are you gonna try to fuck with me? There's definitely like the first reaction is pretty wary. I think for me.
For me, it'd probably be like, how fucking dare you piece of shit. Like,
Oh my God, see, I don't get it.
I do
Oh my
get
God.
really fucking irritated.
You
My
do,
language.
you do,
I do
you
get
do,
irritated
yeah.
because I'm like, I don't fucking know you. I don't pay your bills.
Yeah, see, for me,
Why are
it's
you
a
talking
vibe.
to me?
It's a vibe.
And it's so rare that I'm on that side of the bar where people can communicate. Wait, okay. Working behind the bar, I know I have to communicate with people
Yeah.
and I have to
Yeah.
talk to them and I have to engage.
But you're on a
Safer.
pedestal. You're in control.
Like, this is my house. When
Yeah.
I'm on the same side, that's a whole different world. Like, I mean, it's the same building, the same bar. I could go to, like to my job, you know.
Yeah.
It's a whole different world on that side because then they can just be like,
Right? The playing field becomes even, and you're not like in control of it. You don't have what they
Exactly.
need necessarily.
What about you, my baby? What do you think when somebody, like, approaches you just like,
I
When
got
we're at
tagged in.
Ripcord. When we're at Ripcord.
Oh my gosh, when we were at record.
Which, by the way, they're every Sunday.
I feel like I recognize you from there.
Probably, yeah.
I think I follow you on Instagram actually. Now
wah,
that
wah, wah,
I'm not on
wah.
Instagram.
you're not on Instagram,
Okay.
maybe I follow you on Facebook though. I don't know. Now your face looks all familiar now. that she said she's a
Why are you
record.
looking at my face? We don't have pictures.
I don't recognize you. Let's see.
So
If
somebody
somebody
approaches you, like just sits down next to you, and it's like you can feel a vibe that they want to talk to you. Are you thinking threatening? Or
I
you think-
analyze everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like I have no feelings. So I'm super cold and dead on the inside. So I'm not so much worried or threatened. But like I'm clocking everything.
You're like, I might die anyway, so that's
Their
fine.
body language, like instantly sizing them up as far as like why they're doing, what they're drinking, and like I do that whole like I forget what they call it in the movie, but it's like this whole conversation that
Natural born killer.
No.
Oh, sorry.
It's where you're like sitting with somebody and you pretend to have like a conversation. Like you pick two people out and you pretend what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh God, I love doing that.
It's a good game.
Oh, it's
And
my
so I
favorite.
do that with everyone, everywhere, constantly, like by myself.
Yeah.
Instantly, like all the subliminal reasons why somebody does something psychologically or whatever that's attached to all of it.
I like that because I feel like we're the same. As like I don't feel immediately threatened. I'm just like thinking about what's your vibe. What are you doing?
Exactly. It's like if you came up to me like, oh, well, you're standing really close to me. Your drink is empty, and like I'm not standing at a server's well. Are you trying to come on to me? Are you like looking for the bathroom?
Yeah, I don't immediately
like
think
if you're
it's
lost
yeah.
or
Yeah.
you know, because all of those things come at you in a different way. And
Yeah.
like I think working in the service industry, you get a lot of it because you learn to pick out the faces. Like
Absolutely.
that person's looking for a bathroom.
Yeah.
That person needs a drink, or like that person definitely doesn't want to be talking
Hand
to that
job.
person. Right?
I mean,
Exactly.
bathroom too. Whatever.
Exactly. No, I mean, and
okay,
it's like
whatever.
that person's looking for the bathroom. That person's looking for the bathroom for an entirely different reason.
Yeah.
I think like it would really make the world a better place if you can put somebody like as soon as they turn 18 years old, make them work industry 2 years,
Agreed.
Minimum.
40, 50 hours, 100%.
100%.
2 years. Holy shit! How kind would they start to be to one another?
There'd be no such thing as like that guy.
Yeah. Or calling for Karen, the manager. Or sorry, Karen asking for the manager.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
shit.
Exactly.
They always
The uneven
Is
bob.
there a manager? I am the manager.
Yeah.
Wait. That haircut is what from that Kate plus 8 show or plus 12 or something?
Kate plus 8.
Yeah, it was. Some
I have no
show
idea.
on, like, TLC.
But that's like the meme that came out.
It's the memes from her.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's like the I want to talk to your manager. Can I talk to your manager haircut?
Yeah.
The uneven bob.
I have a question for you, Sing, because this is interesting because I go to your bar, so you've seen people I don't know come and sit next to me and try to talk to me. How does it look like I react to it?
So you are one of my favorite type of people that come into the bar because you come and you sit down, you have your drink, and there's no issue. I don't feel any. You don't exude any like uncomfortableness at all. But when there's 5, 6, 7, 8 chair over there and somebody sit next to you, it's kind of like I imagine like the guy that goes to the urinal.
So
and
you
there's
get defensive
10,
for her.
and then there's like one, and I just look and I'm like, those people are a piece of shit. But no, Sarah's like really amazing about it. She's just like,
I feel like Sarah
I gotta
is
go
probably
smoke.
too
Like,
nice to the point where like
she's very, very.
But I got a really
It-
good way of sidling away also.
Oh yeah, she.
that's
You already
good
have
because
your,
I feel like
out game.
exactly.
I
I
always
love
have
that.
out game.
Oh,
See the
got a
sign,
grade papers.
And
Yeah.
the biggest sign is like first cigarette and outside. that is
I
the
love it.
sign right there. So I'm like, okay.
It's true, and then if they come outside, suddenly I have to talk on the phone.
Yeah, and then hello. What is this? 1-800 nobody talk to me.
Right? Oh my gosh. Walking through the mall, I'm always on my phone. Like, even if I'm not on the phone,
Oh my god.
it
yeah.
seems
I've
like
done it
the kiosk
many
people will
times.
not bother you or like
Exactly. Yeah.
rub whatever they're selling on your arm to get you to stop and like wash your hands.
Yeah.
It's like if you're talking on the phone, they don't bother you.
Oh, it
So
works.
you walk through a building and people randomly rub your arm.
Some people will like.
The mall.
Expensive
See,
products.
Sing doesn't go to malls, so
No.
Yeah.
Like I go home and I just
Yeah.
like look at my
Oh,
feet and
I
I'm
mean,
just like
I guess I should
I don't even want to rub those.
take
like,
the
why would a
outfit into
stranger-
consideration.
Oh,
Oh,
You look like someone just kicked your dog.
that hurts.
these
That
are
hurts
really
me.
nice shoes. I have very nice shoes.
Very. Those are very nice shoes.
But I think what I like, what I think,
Ooh, I'm
what
gonna
I
punch you.
try to think about whenever someone's around me in a public place. Like, I don't just want to do that. You're immediately trying to attack me. You know, like, I'm a very extroverted person. Like,
it's an enlightened perspective, I think, to do that.
I want to know, like, I also want to go a vibe. Like, are you being fucking
read the
creepy?
room.
Yes, read the room.
Are they going to make your boobs into lampshades when they follow you to the parking
or
lot?
Does this person just want to talk? Maybe I want to talk. Maybe they have something important that, like, I want to...
Right.
Or maybe we can just, like, have this really great night talking and never meet again.
Oh,
but, like,
that's
you
so
get to
few
meet
and
this
far
really great
between.
person. But see, being extroverted, like, I have that quite often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, you're the person who kind of makes that bridge almost instantaneous,
Yeah.
and people want to talk to you because you're invited.
But if you're creepy, like, I have no problem being like, go away. Get the
Fire!
Yeah.
Just yell fire.
Yeah.
People will come running.
But this is something, it brings up something interesting that a friend of mine told me recently. So as I said, I kind of have my defenses up when somebody approaches me. But what they were pointing out, they're like, because you kind of give off this "don't fucking talk to me" vibe, the only people who break through it are assholes. Because all of the nice people get that vibe, be like, she doesn't want you to talk. You know what I mean? So it's the people who won't respect your like clear stay away. So he's like, you're actually increasing your percentage of bad encounters. And I was like,
That's interesting.
I know.
That doesn't happen for me, but that's interesting. Like,
it's an interesting read on it, but like, but I don't do it intentionally. Like, people say that to me. People say that I put off this super intimidating, like, fuck you vibe, and it's like, no, I'm just gorgeous. Just because they feel like I'm out of their league, it's like, I don't do that on purpose. I just have a reasonable, GQ fashion sense. I'm not gonna, but no, I mean, and
Today,
I was wearing a jacket earlier.
Love you.
I know. I mean, thank you.
But yeah, I don't want all of us to just hate anyone who comes up to us at a bar, because we are at bars for social gatherings.
Right.
We are at bars for a reason.
Exactly.
And not everyone's creepy, and I don't want people to feel
it's
like
if
all
the entertainment
men are creepy, because they're absolutely not.
Right.
And I don't want men to think all women talking to them just wants them to buy their entire bar tab.
I didn't
exactly.
Even, honestly, honestly, I didn't even think that was a thing anymore, because I pay for my tab. I work as a bartender, but I have to be honest. I've seen women come in, and I've had men close their tab who are finishing their drink, and a lady will come in and be like, yeah, no, he's buying it for me. You need to reopen his tab. And I just stand there with my eyeballs like donuts, and I tell the guy, I'm like, what the fuck do you want me to do? And he was like, I guess I'll open it. There was a situation that recently happened that this woman began to chastise this gentleman.
A stranger or somebody she knew?
Oh, no. Clearly, they knew each other.
Okay.
But it was, I mean, she did it. I mean, if you're going to chastise somebody, like, do it privately. I feel like you shouldn't. Like, I don't hang out my period panties, like, on the street.
Oh, no.
For everybody to fucking
She
look
wants
at.
everybody to know that she's absolutely
100%. I was really shocked by it, and I wanted to ask him.
It's so much more powerful for them to do it in public.
Yeah.
Because then he feels even more emasculated and humiliated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
but who's paying for it?
Yeah.
Who got the money?
Yeah, now we're talking about, like,
Boom,
hetero...
Right, exactly.
No, that even happens.
But
that
is inherently what we're talking about, is, like, heterosexual, like, messages that they got.
Right, exactly.
Because we have messages, heterosexuals also have messages of, like, how to act and how to...
Right, it's like, it's the decent thing for a man to pick up the tab, regardless of how a fool she acts. I came here with her, and it is my responsibility to provide for her.
Yes. Yeah.
Well...
Stereotypically.
But actually...
If you're a piece of shit, I ain't doing shit for you. Whenever
If your eyebrows look like that saying you come to the bar, I ain't buying your drinks. I'm just kidding. I would totally buy your drinks.
He just talked about your eyebrows. I'm sorry. I love your eyebrows.
You don't like
Your eyebrows look great.
You know what? I'm not even.
Maybe it's you
She's
painted them
leaving
on
out.
all
She's
angry
like,
looking.
bye.
I don't know.
No, I'm just.
And this is
Especially
where the
if she's
podcast
gonna see you.
ends.
I mean, for
She
me,
needs to look
like,
mad.
when I date being with my ex-girlfriends, like, I always pick up everything. I always open the door. I do
Chivalry.
everything, But when I date gentlemen, hopefully, like, that's your job.
Males.
But if you don't do it, I'm not that mad about it, because I have hands and I have a wallet. Good.
But guys can find that emasculating as well.
Yes.
Like, you taking that ability away from them to do that. It's like, God, I suck in the bedroom. Like, you know, this, that, and the other. It's like, the least you could let me do is pick up the tab.
Yeah, and that's a whole different podcast that we can have. But
we could go on for hours about all that nonsense.
But it could be like a next one about being a queer woman whenever I was with males and how that really affected their masculinity of just being like, well, I am going to school. I am doing these huge things. I am moving around all over the country. Like, I have my own life. At that point, I had, like, a wife and a girlfriend and doing all these things.
A wife and a girlfriend?
Poly.
Okay.
So it was, like, really hard for males to get into that and then feel...
Like, damn, she scores more than I do.
Well, you know, I mean,
how do I outman her and be the man in this relationship?
Yeah, like, she's doing all these things.
Exactly what you just said. How do I outman somebody?
Yeah.
Like, when I first met
we can never negate the heterosexual, like, messages that they get. We can't just constantly make fun of heterosexual males because 100%. They have no control over the messages they've been sent. Just as much as we have no control over the messages.
Right, and we still haven't washed that out of, you know, modern American society.
Yeah.
You know, so we still have to, like, we were talking about things dying off in generations and, like, where the political climate will migrate when, you know, this next 8 years when this generation kind of goes to, you know, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Well, and that will grow out in, you know, in social politics as well.
Mm-hmm. When you touch on, like, that, I mean, it was something that we actually talked about it a little bit earlier, like ageism, like, now, of course, it's still a taboo to, you know, being part of this community now, but it's starting to become to a point where when you look at our younger generation, like our, like, 18, 19, 20, you know, year-olds, they're...
Girl, don't get it all in your face.
Well, don't put it there. I knew you liked it.
I would say that's what she said, but I mean, that is what she said.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, she did say that. But, I mean...
We're getting a lot of that this episode.
There's so much more fluidity. Like, there's... And that's one thing I'm glad because I know we're cutting a little tight on time.
We're okay.
About labeling.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I thought about...
I wear one label, and, like, I have a huge, like, everything about my social everything and theories on equality and treatment and what, you know, where we should put that up and down is, you know, like, I'm Pinky. That's my label.
See, and I agree with that 100%.
I'm a minority of one.
But let me play this story real quick.
Definitely.
So, one of the biggest things that really actually just really piss me off is when people say, I don't see color. And you know what?
Yeah, for one thing,
Liar.
it's always white people.
My God. Oh, my.
White people, yeah.
Are you back
terrible.
here? Because you did it right there. It's
why we
only
love
white
Sarah.
people that say it like that. That I don't see color. And I think that's probably one of the most disrespectful things to do. Like, you should see it, acknowledge it, and embrace and keep going about your life. Now, when you create that relativity to sexual identity, now, back in the day, like, it was a much more quiet thing where you could only be gay, or you could only be lesbian, you can only be this. Mm-hmm. And now it's starting to become a lot more in the forefront for our community. So, what is really appropriate? Yeah. I mean, and what is not okay?
Yeah,
that's kind of one of the things.
It's a question for
because for me, like people will ask me because I just got divorced from my ex-wife, and I love ladies. I love a person that is kind and nice.
Yeah,
and trust me, as long as your mouth works, I'm happy, and your wallet is good. I'm happy.
But
thank you. So.
I don't know if she got it. Okay, now she gets it. Okay, yeah. Okay. It took her a minute.
Right. Love it.
Go.
No, go where?
No. We were talking
Go
about
home.
Sorry, okay, but do we need to end about now? Like, what do we want to do?
Ish, we got,
what do
some
we want
time.
what do we want our send-offs to be?
Well, okay, so what we do normally in our show, and this is where I'll kind of bleed in here and coach
Okay.
a smidge, is we do the social media sign-offs.
Okay.
So especially if you have somewhere where you post artwork or creative anything, you do sex therapy. So obviously if you have any kind of social media that you want to
She's not going to post
promote
on Pornhub, babe. That was a joke.
I'm just looking for your babe. I'm like, like she's talking to one of you all.
Didn't I tell you how spicy he is?
Yeah.
Not bad for a white guy. And spice, I mean.
Yeah, but no, I would just like to take the time to say how happy I am to be here. I really enjoyed you.
Yay.
And sing, thank you. And you, Sarah, like she brought
She's like, I
in-
think your name is...
No, like you.
No, you, Sarah, she brought in this really great Mormon aspect that, like, because it is the, like, religion du jour, if you will. But people don't actually talk about it. So, like, thank you for saying that.
Sure, always happy to bring in the perspective of Mormons who grew up to fuck people in backyards. So
Yeah.
there we go.
Boom.
Yeah.
It
Boom.
was,
And making it not seem as though, well, everyone's fucked up.
Without bringing the religion into it and the practice and the sort of
Yeah.
mission of it.
Yeah.
Cool.
my favorite thing was that a couple of people, my ladies had cut out, but my main 100% thing was bringing very strong, open-minded, and also peaceful women to speak who are seriously well-articulated, educated, like very, very amazing human beings. And Pinky.
And then me saw it coming. I was like, I'm surprised that they're, because it's so hard to understand you all the time. I just kind of
What?
figured it'd be a whole episode of Mushmouth. But they're great.
Okay, we'll
I'm
discuss
not
that
staring
later.
at you.
Okay.
I know, you can shit. All right, you guys, so we're going to...
And the podcast, like the audio strict
Yeah.
nature of the media, like these girls are gorgeous, you all. Like
You're gorgeous.
dimes.
We all have great hair right now.
And we really are. We all are rocking some
actually,
fabulous
right now we all
fucking
have
hair.
Very fabulous hair. Yeah.
No, seriously. Like,
Yeah.
We took one look at these headphones and we're like,
No, honestly,
with
I
this
did,
hair?
I
Like,
did look at
really?
the headphones.
You gonna
I was
scrunch
like,
it
I don't
down?
wanna put this shit on.
I had the same thought. I was like, where's my volume?
right. We'll
But
post
okay,
pictures.
I'll go ahead and start signing off, or because you
Yeah.
said do
Do it.
Yes, do
I-
your social media.
I
all of it.
don't have social media because I
Amen.
don't know. I traveled. Okay, quick backstory.
Yay.
I traveled for 5 years in my car, and then by the time social media came about, like I didn't really know that it was a thing. And then all of a sudden I was in college, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, I got my first like smartphone in like 2014. Like it's like, oh shit. But the woman I work for, my boss, my beautiful boss, who is teaching me sex therapy, who's getting me certified and all that.
Is that something that you have to go to school for?
Yes.
Did you
And
say she's
not
giving you sex therapy?
She's teaching me, like she is a certified sex therapist and does.
Is she hiring?
And you're like her apprentice. That's what I'm.
Yeah,
I'm actually kind of wondering that myself.
Yeah.
'cause-
So I'm a marriage and family therapist plus sex therapist.
okay.
And she's amazing, Dr. Viviana Coles. She's the doctor on Married at First Sight on Lifetime.
Okay. All right.
She's amazing, and she loves this wacky, weird ass kid that like emailed her 6 years ago of desperate of like,
I don't know how to use this computer.
yeah, exactly, yeah. Or like, I don't know. My professors kept telling me sex therapy wasn't a real thing, and like she called me immediately and was like, it's definitely
It's a fucking
real
thing.
Yeah.
Come see me.
She saved me, and like this is the reason I live in Houston now. It's the reason I do what I do. It's because of her. But no, social media, I don't know.
She's working on it, y'all.
But she,
Don't worry. I'll
She's
take
getting
care of it.
picture messages down at the moment.
Yeah.
One thing at a
But-
time.
Yeah, but we have a Houston Relationship Therapy Instagram, and like that's really, and Facebook. Like I don't know.
Is that where
And,
they can find it? Houston Relationship
Or
Therapy?
please come see me. Like I do
What-
premarital, and I see LGBT BDSM, swinger, poly.
What's the tag for Instagram so they can find you?
Houston Relationship Therapy.
Houston Relationship Therapy. There you go.
Yeah. I'm also not a big social media person, but it has been lovely to be on. Thank you, Sing, for convincing me, which I don't think was true, that I agreed to do this when I was drunk.
It was totally not true.
I know, that's what I thought so. She was like, she sent me a text. She was like, thanks so much for agreeing to the podcast. And I was like, how drunk was I?
Yeah, she was drunk at the bar. I just convinced her.
Love
But
it.
I'm glad you did. I had a great time. Thank you so much for having me.
Yay!
Wonderful. You guys, thank you so very much. I really, really hope that you enjoyed our special episode for the Vagisode. Thank you so much to my co-host and, of course, Miss Pinky. Always take care of me. And then a quick minute from Mr. Joe. But we're going to 86 for the rest of the night. Love you.
Alrighty, y'all. Happy Thursday. We will talk to you then.